Okay, welcome back to digital imaging. And we've got a number of amazing students here today on this cold, blustery day in April. And we have a few things to cover first. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the announcements, and we'll see what questions might pop up from there. Yeah, get any remaining projects in as soon as possible. And I'll give you as many points as I can for those. Today's going to be mostly an open lab work. When we get done with the announcements on the assignments and things, I'll let you go. Then we're going to come back at 3:45 so that we can review the fruit plate project progress. I want to see where you're at, see if anyone in the class can give feedback, honestly. We're all here to learn. And then also talk about the montage project. I'd like for you to submit your sketch and your list of things that you're including along with your theme for that today if possible. And I'm going to go through the revised version of that in Talent as well. And for the future, on Tuesday, we're going to begin the collage project, which is the last big project in this class. And like I said, once we get all those in the moment images and we set up your profile silhouette, the rest is pretty easy. Just move things around until you're satisfied. And then that'll be due on the 30th of April. And then after that, the class on the 14th will be similar to today, where we're going to show up, discuss some things, and then review your fruit plate project progress at 3:45, because it's going to be due on next Thursday, the 16th, and we're going to have everyone sort of give a short presentation, nothing formal, just like, here's my design, and here are some of the reasons that I designed it this way. And then we'll ask some questions and move on. So it shouldn't be too stressful. We just want to like get inside your head to understand why you're doing things, talk about your techniques, anything else related to that. So pretty simple. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to review your progress, your work so far in the montage project, which hopefully you'll have your sketch, your inventory, your theme name, and you'll have started to manipulate things in Photoshop. And then we can talk about that as we move forward on that. So let me open this up. Are there any questions to any of this at the moment? Anything that's confusing? Don't see any comments, not hear anything. Okay, so go ahead and send me any emails if you do have any questions later on. Be happy to answer them. So yeah, let me go into the montage assignment. I've revised it since the other day to fit more of our current format. So basically, there's the introduction to it. Part 1 is due today by 3:30 if you can. Get your theme name, your sketch, inventory list, and then be ready to talk about your theme. So again, we're just planning it, thinking about it, getting into the early stages of our projects, get you some practice for design work later on. And then part 2 is going to be due Tuesday, where you're going to have your progress in the layered PSD format. And then you want to make sure that your file size is 50 megabytes or less. So even if you have something that's as big as what I said was 24 inches maximum, make sure that the file that you put in Talent, this could be a copy of it, is a lower resolution so that it doesn't make it too difficult to download. You're doing this to like practice also like manipulating files and working with different file formats. What I want you to do is look ahead and be thinking about the next day, and Thursday the 16th, we're going to be adding either a 3x3 grid or golden spiral on its own layer, and using that as a guide for focal point, looking at proximity and other design patterns in your composition. And then as we go on, I'll modify this to basically reflect where we're at for the rest of the semester. So we have about 3 or 4 weeks left. And I believe one of the weeks coming up is just purely going to be a work week, very similar to what we're doing now, where we come in, we go through announcements, and then we review whatever assignments we need to during that class period, just to kind of make sure everyone's moving along properly. So does that make sense? Does everyone understand, know what we're doing? Okay, Ricardo says yes. Everyone else understand? Make sense? Okay, good. As I stated earlier, unless there are any other questions, what we're going to do is come back at 3:45 to 4:30 and review your fruit plate progress, and also hopefully talk a little bit about your montage wherever you're at with that. And then we'll just go from there. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in about an hour. And I will be available for questions and things either here or through email. All right, so we've returned from our work break, and I want everyone to pull up their progress on their fruit plate project, as well as have available your sketch, the image of your sketch, or anything related to your montage project. So I'll give you a couple minutes to get those up and ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of jump through the fruit plate projects, just talk about a couple things that any of us might notice. I'd like to open this up for the group, but without it being too chaotic. What I'm going to do is just talk about a couple things, ask the group if there's something else that they'd like to bring up regarding the students' fruit plate, and then we'll just try to go through those as quickly as we can. Okay. Bree, are you able to present?
Yes, I got the fruit plate up. I'm still bringing up my sketch and whatnot.
Okay.
So there's my fruit plate.
Awesome. Okay, so you're going to need to add a background. That's the one thing. The selections are still looking good. The reflections are looking pretty good. Most of your light seems to be coming from the front. The orange isn't too bad. Yeah, overall I say good. What I think is missing, and you'll need to add this with the background, is your shadows for your plate, your glass, and your muffin especially.
Okay.
All right, does anyone who has something that they'd like to contribute or ask about Bree's fruit plate? Do you want me to pick on you? All right, so I guess I'm gonna have to select students randomly. So Haley, what do you notice about this fruit plate?
I really like her organization because there's different colors in different areas, so it's not clunked together.
Mm-hmm.
And also the blueberries, they're not as bright, because that's what I had difficulty with, is trying to dull down the brightness of the blueberries because they were very sharp in the original image.
Yeah, I think the composition works pretty well. Yeah, I think Bree's doing a great job conveying what she needs to on this. When you put the background into this, you'll likely need to select all of your shapes, either as a group or however you need to, and make them slightly smaller so we can read whatever background you have in there. Good job. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
So Haley, are you able to present?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Is it showing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep. So that's pretty nice. I like that you have that sort of darker shadow around the base of the muffin and the glass, and then you have the sort of, larger shadow off of it. For me, it's you probably would have some sort of shadowing around the plate closer to it.
Okay.
Um, what you don't want it to, you don't want it to be this exact same thickness or darkness as every other shape that you have. I think the glass one, to my eyes, looks the base shadow looks pretty strong.
Okay.
Um, the reflections are pretty good on the plate. Um, and yeah, your organization works real well. The one thing that I don't see here is a strawberry. Is that the one
Oh,
thing you wanted to change?
yeah. I think I need to go in there and add that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could just put a strawberry somewhere.
Okay.
Um, and then let's see. Nadine, what about Haley's fruit plate? Do you have any questions over or comments?
I really like it. I mean, I like the kind of background she chose.
Mm-hmm.
The wood and it matches with the coconut shell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and look at that, the transparency in the glass. So we don't want it to be like perfectly clear, like there's no glass there. So I thought Haley did a great job of letting us know that there's still glass there, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I agree. Like I think the angle of the background works well with the plate, pretty well. Good. Nadine, are you able to present?
yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot, a lot of stuff here. I think the background coloring works really well because of the green apples and also the leaves in front. What I'm a little concerned with is I think the shadows aren't working as I think you want them to in here. So if you're looking from like the direction of the light, which let's see, I'm looking at that glass and there's a pretty dark shadow from behind it. I can't tell, maybe my eyes are playing tricks with me, but the lighting to me seems to be mostly on the front of your plate. Um, and the back is sort of diffuse. And especially where you see the crease in the back where the wood table is against that green background. I feel like the lighting is sort of coming from the front going to the back on this. So I would have the shadow of your juice glass probably going back towards that. Um, and then you probably want to have like that sort of stronger shadow at the base of the object of your glass to make it really look like it's sitting on that surface. Yeah, so I think that's my major concern is getting the shadow and the lighting of your background or to fit in with your plate. It's good. Omar, what comments or questions do you have on Nadine's fruit plate?
Oh, okay. I really like how the fruit has been organized. Um, Everything is look great. Maybe my only concern is um, if the background changed different color, maybe that's the only thing I see.
Do you mean more of a contrasting color or what?
Yes, more contrasting.
Okay,
With
that would
blue.
help to pop out those apples more. I personally don't have a problem with the background color, but it would help the green apples to stand out more if it was a slightly different color. Personal taste, I think, on that one. Great. Also on your glass, I would go in there, make it a little bit more opaque at the top so we can see a little bit more of what's behind it. So you just basically would select that glass area above the juice below the rim and just change the transparency just a little bit so we can see more, maybe possibly change the blending mode depending on what's behind it. Okay, Omar, are you able to present?
Yes.
So I think I would remove the drop shadows from your objects because it makes them actually flatten out more.
Yeah.
I would go in and my recommendation would be to make on its own layer a shadow shape for the objects, for each object or group of objects, because that'll give it more authenticity. It'll make it more realistic. Similarly on the glass, that back area, I would select and make that a mask with some slight transparency or blend mode change. That's the easiest thing for that. I feel like the muffin sits really well on the table that you have here. I think the plate, I'm not sure if the plate, it kind of looks like it's sitting fine to me. And then what I see on the left, and actually, I don't know if you can see the edge of the plate. There's like a little white marks here and there around the edge of it. You might, if you could, yeah, like on the sides and the bottom.
Yeah.
It looks like your selection wasn't quite clean, and I can't tell from looking at your file how you made that. So if that's something you can easily adjust, either if it was done with the brush tool or a clipping mask, you can probably nudge that over. But I think the lighting in general is good. The lighting on the grapes in the back is a little bit perhaps too bright compared to the other objects around it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the nature of those grapes. They're pretty bright. They reflect a lot of light off of them. Nathan, what comments or questions do you have on Omar's composition here?
I like the positioning of the fruits and stuff. I think that's working pretty well. But maybe work on a little bit with the scaling of some of them, like the strawberry. It seems maybe a
That's
little.
a real. The strawberry is really big and the red apple's really small.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Imagine like a chocolate covered strawberry like that. That's like huge, tasty. Yeah. So I agree with Nathan. I feel like
Yeah.
the apple, like if you put if you take that strawberry, reduce its size, and put it where the apple is, and then move the apple somewhere else and make it larger, I think that'll work better. Also, because of that flatness, if you look in the front, the apple and the kiwi, like it really makes that look too flat. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It looks less
Yeah.
three-dimensional because of that space. It like defies reality.
Yeah.
But I think otherwise, just go in there and sharpen up some of your reflections and your shadows. But yeah, I think the composition works really well. It's very nice. And the color tone that you have of the table works really well with the muffin, and the outer side of the kiwi brings that in. Good job. Nathan, are you able to present?
Yep.
So definitely get a background. Some of those blue grape / blueberry things, I think they're supposed to be blue grapes, look kind of big in comparison. And the one on the far left has this sort of white like accent on the stem. You might want to play with that. I can't tell. Let me see if I can actually make my screen bigger here.
I can zoom in too if you need.
Okay, yeah, let me try my screen first. Okay, so yeah, the transparency in the glass probably needs to be adjusted. I would probably add a little bit more shadows behind the orange slice and between that and the strawberries. It's really hard to differentiate between at least two of the strawberries in there without some shadowing. I think overall it's fine. And then of course, like shadows around the objects that touch the surface. And the edge of your plate is a little bit uneven. I know this is purposely, a challenge. That's why we use it. But I think overall the composition is pretty good. Mitchell, what comments or questions do you have for Nathan here? Are you there, Mitchell? Are you muted? I don't see him on here right now. Maybe something happened. Keaton, are you able to comment on Nathan's composition?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you just increase your volume just a little bit? Are you able to see Nathan's fruit plate? Are you there, Keaton? If you're speaking, I'm not hearing you, Keaton. All right, so we're gonna, I hope you're okay. We're gonna move along. Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened either. I guess we'll come back to you. Ricardo, are you here? Are you able to comment on Nathan's?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I really like the placement of the fruit. The only thing is, like you said, the grapes are a bit big, and the strawberries, like they kind of like blend into each other. Like you can't tell
Mhm.
like where the edge of each of them are.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's kind of all I got.
yeah. Yeah, I think like the shadow and light play between the orange, the green apple, the kiwi, and the red apple works pretty well. Yeah, like those strawberries, it's hard to differentiate the objects. Yeah, it's a good composition. Okay, Ricardo, are you able to share?
Yeah. Um, I still have a lot that I'm missing because I started over when we switched to online. But
Okay.
yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, I think it's coming along. Those are small kiwi.
Yeah.
You might, they almost look like walnuts at first glance, like the brown ones, outside ones. I think your general composition of having the muffin and glass in the middle is a good one because it'll force you to really think about the objects as they appear through the transparency. And you might even, and I see that you're already kind of working on that, you might want to be a little bit careful in the sections. It looks almost kind of frosted. But you also might want to look like at home, like if you have a round glass with a solid fluid in it, like orange juice, look at the object through it and study it and see if there's any like distortion in the shapes that are on the other side of the glass and just see what
Okay.
that does.
All right.
Yeah, I think that might be a nice study for you. And then you're probably gonna need a little bit more shadow between the muffin and the glass, and then
Yeah,
maybe
I haven't added any
yeah,
shadows at all
yeah,
yet.
yeah. No, but I think it's interesting. And some people purposefully put the muffin and or the juice in the composition in the plate to avoid having to deal with it outside. And some
Mhm.
people really enjoy designing with it outside of the plate. So it's personal opinion. But yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing this with the background and the additional items in it. Good job. All right. Keaton, do you have audio back? Can you speak?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just very softly.
I don't know why it's so soft.
Yeah, it's okay. So are you able to comment on Ricardo's? Ricardo, can you put your screen back up?
Yeah, my bad.
It's okay. Okay. Go ahead, Keaton.
Okay. I like it. It's just that like there's open space by the apple, or no, by the orange juice. It's just, I don't know.
Mhm.
Uh kiwi. The lighting looks I don't know what to say.
Okay. All
I
right.
like it. That's what I said.
Okay. All right. Uh, are you able to present yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna change my screen
It's a
again.
work in progress.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't expect anyone to have theirs done today. That's pretty good. The one thing that doesn't look right to my eyes is I don't know if the plate is sitting exactly on the same plane as that counter. Because this plate has like an angle to it, right? Get my hand right. And this is the challenge, the design challenge is getting it to look like it's actually sitting on whatever surface you put under it.
yeah.
So you might want to see if you can either group all of your objects together
Okay.
into one folder, group folder, and then transform all of that in your group so that it's sitting a little bit down in the back. That's what I would sort of look to. But otherwise, I think the composition's very strong. It's very tight. I think that the lighting you chose for this background works really well for the grapes, and that's a hard one to do. And you have that sort of stronger shadow under the orange. I wonder though if like the reflections in the plate might be too bright or too clear.
Okay.
So if you have, I don't know if you have a plate, a glass plate, and you have an object that you can sit on and look in, like sort of the strong light coming in. But to me, that shape, especially the orange slice, seems too sharp, maybe.
Okay.
And you're probably going to need some more shadow under the grapes too. But I think it's coming along very well. Who has not commented? Seamus? Seamus, are you able to speak with us? Your comment was just to me. Are you able to speak to the group? Audio? Oh, you have no mic? Okay. I will relate what Seamus is saying. I will be an interpreter. He says this looks very cozy. It's a very nice plate.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you might, I don't know if you need to, but you might want to make it just a little bit bigger so that the background isn't taking as much space. I don't know. It's a nice arrangement. I wouldn't want to mess that up.
Okay.
Plate could be better placed. Okay, Seamus, what do you mean by that? I'm waiting for Seamus.
The alignment.
It looks
for
slightly
the
off.
counter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So keep working on it, and also think about with that bright light. I don't know if you have anything that's coconut shaped at home right now,
Mhm.
but and this is the sort of, I can't remember, concave or convex shape. You might want to look at something and see with the bright light's coming in and it's casting a shadow off of the grapes. Does it create a strong shadow inside of it, or does it just white out because of the light reflection inside? I don't know what that is. Yeah, but I think your glass is looking really good. There's a lot of really good work in here. You're going to need a strawberry and probably some of those blueberry type things too.
Okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to put in a lot, right? Just enough to show us that you've got all the ingredients. Good job.
Thanks.
Seamus, are you able to present your progress today? No? Okay. So let me look at my list. Rachel, are you able to present?
Yep.
Go for it. All right. Okay, so my first thoughts is the objects, the orange slice and the apple appear to be kind of flat. So I don't know. I know we talked briefly about this before. And also, I think the shadow of the muffin looks like you drew any lips. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I know it's still not right.
Okay. It looks like you have like a stem and a top versus
Yeah.
like a muffin shape. All right. The glass is looking good. Yeah, I think the one thing that to my eyes, there's not enough shadow like near the plate of the objects, and you don't want to be too heavy-handed with it. And then also, like, I think the bananas might be too small.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the shading on the red apple and the orange, to me, pop out as like almost two-dimensional for some reason. Livia, are you here?
Yeah,
Are you able
I
to Yeah, are you able to comment on Rachel's composition?
yeah. I like
What?
the picnic table. And it seems to me like I think that the plate and the table are like really close to looking like they're in the same area. I think maybe the muffin would look more realistic if there was also a shadow coming from it. I see one just below it. Um, but it doesn't look like it's the muffin shadow to me.
Right.
I
I
think
also feel, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think maybe it's because I can't see the shadow very well on the napkin, but I can on the wood.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Like if the muffin were on the napkin, I feel like the muffin would be pushing the napkin down and that there'd be like a shadow of the crease where they would interact.
Okay.
So it's almost like the muffin is hovering at on top of the napkin. I don't know. And the front of the plate, because there's no defined like black edge, almost looks like it's sort of like melted or almost like there's like a scooping or scraping edge at the very front instead of an actual full edge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a shadow going off to the left of the plate, but I don't see like a sort of a defined shadow in the front, and I don't see the defined edge like you have on the sides of the plate.
I need to make them darker. They're there, but I think they're too light.
Okay. Yeah. So I think to my eyes, a lot of it's just working with the shadows and the light play. And again, I know I keep saying this, if you have any objects, whether they be fruit or not, try to get something similar to what you have. That'll really help you. Like if you don't normally have fruit in the house, like, I don't know, like shoes or, socks or something that of a similar sort of combination and lighting will be very helpful for people. All right, good job. All right, Livia, it's almost like you worked at a grocery store or something.
I did actually.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like this is a display for like a photo shoot or something. It's very full. We can still see pieces of the plate, and what I can see of the plate, they look good. Your reflection edges on there are good. The one thing I'm not seeing as defined are like the shadow reflections of the fruit on the plate, in part because so much of it is covered.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think the most obvious one in my eyes, and I like the shadow on the back left green apple off the plate, but I think the shadow underneath the green grapes isn't quite right.
Okay.
And I know because you have those blueberry blue grapes, whatever the hell they are, you did a great job like normalizing them. But I feel like next to the grapes, you might want to go in on some of those grapes and maybe, tone down the brightness of them because it's such a strong contrast. And a lot of your lighting is very controlled. And I feel like there's this sort of like near the upper left side, those 2 or 3 grapes are really shiny.
Yeah. Are you talking about the white ones now?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
green grapes. Yeah,
Okay.
because you have those dark, deep dark cherries and the strawberries, and I
Mm.
can actually make those out fairly well. Those look very natural to my eyes. But those grapes, like there's like this little thing of light reflecting off of them. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think you need to reduce that too much, just a little bit more maybe.
Okay.
The apples are looking good. Those are big kiwi.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but
Yeah,
I can make them smaller, I guess.
yeah. Um, what you could do if you wanted to is you could consider moving like, I don't know, like swapping some of the green apples with some of the kiwi or something. Because if you make the kiwis smaller in that spot, they're going to be covered by the strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just a matter of preference.
Okay.
And then you're going to want to put a background in and then possibly deal with the transparency of the glass after
Yeah.
that. Who has anyone not commented who can comment? I think we might be going back to Bree. Bree, are you able to talk about Livia's composition here?
Yes. I like how you put together the cherries next to the strawberries and then also like the blueberry looking things next to the grapes. I think they like go together very well.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think the shadow between the orange slice and the grapes is pretty good. That little triangle area. So I think once you get your background in, you're gonna be playing with the shadow under the plate, under the anything that's hanging off the plate, the muffin, all those base shadows and things like that. The only other area that just caught my attention might be the sides of the red apple.
You mean like
The reflection sides.
Okay.
Yeah, they might be fine. So we'll see how the lighting changes when you put a background in here, because you may end up rearranging like the kiwi and the apples or some other things too. So don't worry too much about it right now. But yeah, I think it's a very nice composition, and it flows across the page. Yeah, great job.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, let's see. Did I miss anyone who's able to participate? It's always weird trying to just look at a list. Okay, I think I got it right. Okay, so let's go through and just talk briefly about, because it's already 4:24, wow. Just briefly talk about our montage. So you don't have to share your sketch, but if you have it and you want to talk just briefly about your theme, or if you have questions or you want to crowdsource, like, I don't know what I want to do, right? So let's just start back up with Bree. Do you have your theme picked out for your montage?
I do.
What are you thinking?
I'm doing watercolor pictures by an artist named Joseph Raphael.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, he does a lot of like animals and like just bright colors, and I really like his styles, so I wanted to do
Awesome.
something with that.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had anyone suggest doing watercolor artists before. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Eaton, what are you thinking of?
You hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My theme is just variety of video games.
Video games like console, PC.
I like games.
What does
Like
that mean?
actual like characters and like the graphics. I don't know. That's
Huh. Okay. I'm looking. My curiosity is very piqued. Awesome. That sounds really interesting. Nadine, what are you thinking?
I was thinking like doing farm pictures that I've taken and like have like a barn wood like in the background, and then have like a camera, and then have like placements of the pictures I have done. And then
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that. And you've submitted some of these pictures during the in the moment images. So
yeah.
you have a strong, like, is it a family farm you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a very strong family farm connection. And you submitted a really nice repetition one with all the John Deere
Mhm.
tractors. Yeah, that's awesome. Nathan, what are you thinking?
I was thinking of doing like Cedar Rapids, like the downtown area, like doing buildings and then like a couple of their bridges and then some of the art sculptures that are located downtown.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you've expressed in some of your pictures a lot of urban settings. Are you interested in like architectural photography or what?
Um, I have no idea really. Not really sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Seamus, you go ahead and chat if you can't speak. What are you thinking for your montage theme? Flags? Like country flags or some other kind of flags? All types? You're a flag connoisseur? Okay, cool. I always get to learn something new. One student um, did her did something about her pet snakes, which is really cool. I have a lot of friends that now have snakes, so it's interesting. Very cool. Flags. Ricardo, what are you thinking? Shoes or something else?
Yeah, I'm doing shoes. So I'm gonna take like my favorite shoe, the Air
Mhm.
Jordan 1, and kind of build it out of photos of other shoes that I have.
Oh, so you're thinking
So
of putting like a collage of shoes in your montage?
yeah.
Oh, okay. This will be exciting. Very cool. Are you gonna be in this montage?
Hmm. I'm not sure. Probably not. I'm thinking of like building them and like putting them like in a shoebox. Like kind
Okay.
of yeah.
Oh, like a sculpture.
Kind of yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Rachel, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna do books and reading.
Books and reading. So what do you have any sense of what that's going to look like yet?
Yeah, I have a little reading set up in my room that I'm gonna photograph, and then I'm gonna scan in some of book pages from my favorite books and stack some of my favorite books up as well.
Oh, cool. That sounds really cozy. Very nice. Omar, what are you thinking of doing?
Oh yeah. So I am thinking about doing about something about legend in the real football history. So there is three legend, um, Pele, Maradona, and now Messi, who was
Oh,
5 times best player in the world. So I'm thinking to do something about them and what's the difference between Pele and Maradona and Messi. As we know, in basketball, there are three legends we know, like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and now LeBron James. It is the same on soccer. There is three legends in the history of soccer.
I
So
thought it was called football.
yeah, it was a real football. We call it real football.
That's cool.
Soccer.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. That's great. All right. And Haley,
Yeah, so my parents traveled around Europe when I was little, so I was going to use their images that they took there and scan them in and use them somehow to collaborate them with.
oh, cool. So do you remember any of those trips?
No, I was born there and then we were there till I was 3, so I don't remember anything.
Oh, so I wonder if this is going to open up any old stories or something with your family.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So like some students will incorporate handwritten messages or scripts or like whatever into there too. So don't feel like you just need to have like a stack of images.
Yeah.
Like this can be layered. Like
Okay.
Ricardo was thinking of having like a sculpture in there. So think
Mhm.
about it as like a three-dimensional layered space. Photoshop deals with layers,
Yeah.
but I want you to think about like the depth of your montage if you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
cool. And
Thank you.
Livia, yeah, Livia, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna be doing a fairy garden. Um, I made one in my backyard. I'm gonna take pictures there.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That is so cool. Do you know Carissa?
No.
So her montage was this sort of like like fairyland sort of story, and she created this little mushroom dude and this book. It was pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, are there any other questions or comments on the homework or anything coming up? Next Tuesday, we're planning to have it be similar to this. We're going to be getting close to the fruit plate being due on Thursday. Any questions? Anything making sense? Okay. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your work on the montage, and we'll get the collage project started next Tuesday, and we'll just go from there. We only have a few weeks left of the semester. Stay safe and have a great weekend. Thank you very much for being here today.